put myself 5 years out. Like, where am I going to be proud of myself? Where are
Right.
my, children going to be like, that's my dad. Like, if I say stay comfortable, like if you stay comfortable, you're dying. And
Right.
so like now that I've done it, it's easy for me to like say this and and all that. And so like I've listened to several podcasts, read some books and stuff that just kind of elaborate on that. But like, man, once you cross that fence, it's just like I can do this.
Yep.
And like now we that flywheel, man, like we can feel it. It's moving. We're gaining momentum the right way, but it's just all day, every day, the grind. And so I love it though. So it's not work. Like it's never worked for me.
So we're going to talk about before the fence and after the fence. And you may have noticed as you were talking there, I hit record because we weren't even recording, and you were dropping some lines that people need to hear. So you're a natural at this already. So well, welcome to the Change Your Filter podcast.
Paul, great to be here, my man. Tall Paul, the legend. Honored to seriously be here. Honored to have you as a friend and just to simply know you, man. I've known you for years, and you've inspired me.
Well, thank you, and likewise. And you've always been so kind and generous and thoughtful and just a good dude. And I got to swing by the shop now that I will be. I'm putting myself on the spot here. I will be driving by your shop twice in July on my way to Ohio. Actually, four times if I go there and back. And there's no reason we don't stop and meet up.
Nah,
So hold me to it.
let's do it. Love to see you in person.
So I do too. We have a lot to talk about. I want to talk about your career to give context to people, kind of where you started, and I want to move into what you're doing now, where you're sitting today, where you're going to be sitting in a couple weeks, what you've got going on with the business. But I want to start with some kind of personal things that I need to address about the home state that you are living in today, West Virginia.
That's right.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Is West Virginia the most underrated and misunderstood state in the continental U.S.?
Oh, man, opportunity lies right here beneath us. And so we're kind of taken for granted. I'll take it that way, though. Like it's a beautiful thing. There's just a lot of good quality people that live here, work here. And I'm born and raised right here. Population's less than 1.8 million
Oh,
in the
really?
entire
Wow.
state. So I know, there's many markets that have that just within a 60-mile
Dallas.
radius. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy. So you can make an impact wherever you are, and
Mhm.
I just love it here. Don't plan on moving, and know a lot of people, and we're going to change the community one day at a time.
I've been known to get lost on a little Instagram scrolling on a Friday night, and I have many times come across hikes and rivers and canyons and
Mm,
views and vistas and foliage and flora and fauna of stunning, stunning pictures. And it only to be in the captions like, you're sleeping on West Virginia. Like, don't,
yeah,
West Virginia doesn't promote itself enough. It's a great place.
it is. It is nice. We love it. We kind of have that incorporated in our brand. Dan with Kick Charge helped us
Yep.
create our brand image and stuff. And man, that was a, a very, very, very awesome move, critical move looking back, coming out the gate. It was there was an investment, and at the time, it's like, gosh, like I don't know about this,
Oh, yeah.
whatever, 20 to $50,000 investment. But then now, 15 months into this thing, I'm like, gosh, what's the cost of not using Dan? And I'll text him that all the time,
Yeah.
just by creating that solid brand.
And you did that process prior to actually opening the doors, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's go before the fence. So that's a perfect point to build up to. Let's go back to how you got into this business, what you did in the business, and then some of those rumblings and grumblings that led you to say, I'm ready to jump the fence. So who is John Caruthers?
My man. Paul, great to be here. I'm John Caruthers, owner of Best Virginia Heating and Cooling here in West Virginia. And man, I created this brand with I knew there was better out there. I knew it could be done better. So how I got into the trade, sorry. So
No, it's fine.
graduated college in 2003 just with a business degree in marketing. Back then, it's fax machines, it's newspaper stuff that's so irrelevant today. It's not even funny. So I aimlessly went through college. I'm just confessing, it's pretty sad, but I did. Then I got out and I'm like, now what?
Where'd you
So then
go?
I went to West Virginia State University. It's just
Yeah.
kind of right here, maybe 50 miles away. It's pretty close. It's more of a commuter type
Hmm.
place. Um, so graduated there in '03 and did a few things. I've been around just construction and just people, business. I worked at 84 Lumber throughout college. That was a phenomenal place. I learned, and I mentioned that place because I learned a lot about how business operates and met a lot of great contacts. Just I understood the home, and so like us running a load calculation, understanding the envelope of a home is critical, especially from just a comfort design and all that perspective. And then so my uncle Ed Powell, he back in '07, I knew nothing about heating and cooling, like nothing. I think I understood there was a thermostat on the wall, and
Yeah.
that was honestly it. I didn't understand, anything else. I knew there was ductwork and all that. Just like I was just a typical consumer that just like it's just this intangible magic that's out there, and I move that thing, boom, magic happens. And so I didn't understand how amazing the trades were back then, and I'm still learning more every day of how magical the trades are. So he was general manager at a place here in town, um, and it was backed by corporate, we'll say, and so um, learned a lot. They got me in the trades, and so I was there for 11 years and learned a lot. Met a lot of great people, and then he was going to retire, and I just knew that my time was up there, and I felt just I could do more, and so I went to another town and went to work for a company up there, and I was there for probably 3 years and I was still in that sales role, that comfort advisor role. Now I call it a project manager. That's what
Hmm.
we call our guys. And so, man, I learned a lot. You kind of learn a lot the hard way. I just felt like over those 14 years that things could be done better. And
Hmm.
then I kind of concluded that really there was honestly no place in this market that honestly cared about its internal and external customer.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, that was kind of my complaint over the years was just like it could be done better, like accountability on installs, maintenance honestly being done, service calls being ran with the customer's best interest at heart. And so I met a lot of great people out there from from just folks on the phone in the front to maintenance techs to service techs to installers and just I'll say good souls with integrity and character
Hmm.
that just weren't happy and they were kind of frustrated for the same reason. And so I just I talked about it and then I talked about it and then I talked to you. I'd see you at some different events and stuff and I think really it was your podcast. Actually, I know it was back in, gosh, Paul, it was probably back in 2020 that
Hmm.
that 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 pushed me over the
Dude,
ledge. And
yeah.
so that's the whole thing, man. In 5 years, what's going to make my family proud, my children proud, and like where could I honestly make an impact on the community? And I knew like the only way was to just take that leap and start my own business. And so just podcasting, books, and talking to folks, other business owners, and whew, some say it's easy, some say it's difficult. Like it's fun. It's all I know.
Good. Well, I have a couple things I want to kind of double click on. So 11 years at a corporate backed company. You're not mentioning names, so I will respect that and omit their names as well. And then 3 to 4 years at a local company, both great companies that I know you worked for, that I've worked for or worked with in some capacity over the years as well. Um, Primarily sales, was that kind of your sweet spot?
Yeah,
Like, what were you
yeah.
doing?
So it was sales. I mean, it was sales from the beginning. But like the longer I was in that sales role, I realized I was kind of at the very end of this road. So like the calls needed to be booked right. Like
Hmm.
customers needed that empathy. So like I kind of got involved from in all facets of the business just because I'll say I didn't get a shake at it unless everyone ahead of me did the job the right way.
Right. Yep.
So that's like just working a 3 day call board. A sales guy isn't responsible for a 3 day call board, but it just kind of got to where like my livelihood was directly impacted by that. My livelihood was directly impacted by a maintenance tech, honestly, doing maintenance, and so I just learned a lot about the business and really just became passionate and fell in love with the trades. And still to this day, I think there's no better place to be than in the trades of where we are. COVID exposed that too, just the opportunities that are out there. So
Yeah.
I had a pretty good understanding of everything
Yeah.
from the warehouse, the equipment, just working with the vendors and stuff like that. So, but I
Yeah.
just love to learn.
Yeah, if I remember in talking with you at both of those companies, you always kind of acted like an owner, had the perspective of an owner, or a GM or whatever. I want to go back to something you said about, um, and again, this is a general statement. It's not pointing at any particular company, but you'd mentioned, really treating internal and external customers with empathy. It's not exactly how you said it. But you mentioned accountability on installs and quality for the customer and doing things the right way and not cutting corners. And I want to push back on that a little bit. Now, as a business owner,
Hmm.
as you now see like the full playing field on your
Hmm.
dime, you say we, but this is your deal.
Hmm.
Um, do you find yourself feeling like, man, maybe I was a little too idealistic? Like this is
No.
why this is no hard
Hmm.
no.
Or
Yeah.
no. Yeah. I mean, like, what does your mother deserve? So, like, if we show up at
Mm,
her house, what does she deserve?
yeah.
I mean, it's as simple as that. If not, it's malpractice and it's criminal. So if we're out there acting like we're a professional service,
Hmm.
and that's what we're talking about, that's what we're promoting, that's what we have to deliver. So, like, my guys know I'm for real, they know I'm intense, but like they come in the door knowing that we are the best. That's always the goal, but we
Right.
honestly have to deliver the best. And we roll with processes, check sheets, and we're always tweaking them, modifying them to where the customer wins. But like my guys got to win, but they know like they win when the customer wins. So I really don't think I answered your question though.
No, you actually did. You
Okay.
answered it before I even could finish even explaining it because it's firm conviction that there's a right way to do it. And I just wonder, um, and this is not a question, this is more of a statement. I see a lot of really, really big successful companies who don't do what would be best for my mother or your mother or somewhere else. And these are local companies, these are all over the country
Sure.
where they're doing what is best for them operationally. They're
Sure.
doing what is best for them within the limits of their technical knowledge. They're doing what's
Sure.
best for them within the limits of their capacity. And oftentimes that means that the consumer gets less for a high price. And I look at and not to go, and you'll be able to really relate with this because I know you're a high feature, high seer, kind of high. You work on the high end of the equipment side of things. It often results in customers spending a lot of money for very, very basic equipment and not getting what they could have gotten.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, we just go in and give options, whenever
Yeah.
we're out there, whether we're doing maintenance, so I know Leland Smith, out on the West Coast. I mean, they would spend hours doing maintenance, just from what I hear, what I gather.
Hmm.
I've never
Yep.
seen the operation, just from listening to him and kind of seeing some things, but like our thing is, like my maintenance tech, he knows
Hmm.
why he's out there. It's for maintenance. So ask him the question, what should you do? It's like the best maintenance in the world. So like,
Hmm.
but more than likely, there's a great chance that there's going to be some opportunities that are out there.
Right.
Like if we install it, hopefully there's not going to be any opportunities other than changing some of the ancillary products and stuff like that. With the
Right.
filters, and we do a lot of that stuff. But just like we've got to do what we were called out there to do. Maintenance, you go out and do the best maintenance they've ever had in their life. But we follow check sheets, we take pictures, we operate off Service Titan. I mean, I
Hmm.
hate to be the bearer of bad news. Service Titan ain't going to change your life. You've got to use it. I mean, just
Yeah.
because you have it doesn't mean the guys are going to go do the right maintenance. Doesn't mean
Right.
they're
Yeah.
they're really going to wash the coils. But we have check sheets. We do, like, we take pictures of stuff. We review things. So what do they say? What gets measured, what gets managed. You know what I'm saying? something like that. Or just maybe
Exactly. I get it backwards too.
same
Yep.
here. But you just got to watch it, and but we've got a lot of just great people on the team that really
Yep.
take pride in what they do, and they understand the mission, and there are core values that we follow.
And talk to me now about that period of time from you are fully employed with your previous employer
Hmm.
till you to flipping the light switch at Best Virginia.
Hmm.
How long did that take? And what were some of the first things you were doing? Break all that down for me if you
Mm,
can. I've got a
mm.
million questions.
Yeah, I'll try.
Share
So
what you can. It's I know
sure.
that's probably a sensitive.
Sure. So, just man, listening to you, like you and Chris were the gateway. Seriously, it
Mhm.
just opened up everything. And then somehow I found Josh Kelly with Clover Marketing. The
Yep.
guy's crazy. I mean, like crazy good. Like
Great
love,
ideas. Yep.
love the guy, love the guy. And so he's direct. He's like me. I mean, he's just direct. So I came in contact with him, and so he actually came up with the name and my tagline. Like we had several meetings, and like he knew I was half nuts but pretty crazy, and like we're going to go do something. And so like I had
Mhm.
a vision,
And you're
and so
funding this though. You're paying
oh,
him
I'm
as you're an
funding this.
employee.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've yeah, like this is 100% out of pocket, but yet I
Yep.
mean, um,
After hours, like doing this.
100%, two full-time jobs. I mean, so like
Yep.
I jokingly tell my guys, like joking with them, I'm like, there's no unicorns out there. Like, I mean, I wish there was. I'm looking, but like, you got to do the work, bro. You got to
Yep.
show up all day, every day. You got to fall in love with the monotony of the grind. So, I mean, it's just kind of like choose your hard. It's all hard. So choose your heart. And so, I mean, I just love to work though, so it's not considered work. And gosh, so yeah, working a full-time job, where I was at the other place, I wasn't, I tried to be as legit, as honest and ethical as possible. I never took business and was like, hey, hold off, I'm going to start a business. Like
Yep.
never ever, I would never do that, would never recommend that. I just wanted to, walk away with kind of on good terms. So I got with Josh, and then I got with Dan at Kick Charge. They again just came across him probably on one of your podcasts. And so just after going back and forth, I didn't take his first version. I kind of questioned a lot of stuff, and I was just going with my gut and going with my, heart, just knowing what I felt the community, wanted what they needed, what would go best here. And I consulted with some people that I respect highly, some good friends. Um, gosh, so then I just put in my 2 weeks, and then it was like a few days. It was just kind of what it
Yep.
was. And that was at the end of 2021 in December. And so then basically in from January, February to March the 1st, that was my 3 months of like bringing all of this together, praying that a few guys that said they like kind of believe in me and they may consider come over, like will
Yep.
come over. So like walking away from selling, a little bit. I sold 3.4 million as a project manager at that place in
Yep.
Charleston. When I went up there, at the end of 18, they the install department did less than 800. So I just like after going up there and seeing what could be done with really no processes and all of that, I'm like, it can be done. So it's easy to talk about it, but then to do it was a different ball game.
So what did those first 3 months look like? Like where'd your first customer come from?
So just kind of had some people that I've met over my X amount of years, and I'll say one thing back when I worked for that corporate company, like just I kind of butted heads with the marketing department. It was just they would send out free snow scrapers in the summertime, and then they would expect us to sell magic and stuff like that, even though there was maybe a corporate call center or whatever that customers didn't care for. So the odds were always stacked against me from that team perspective. And so, but I was always creating relationships. So my thing was don't make transactions, make relationships, because that's what customers want. That's what I want. That's what anybody wants.
Right.
You go buy, I say buy a car, buy anything like that. You have any type work done. You don't want to be a transaction. You don't want to be a number. No one does. The customer
Mhm.
doesn't want to be one either. So, I would just like I could talk to a tree is what I'm kind of told. So Like I just love relationships though, and I love solving people's problem whenever I'm out there. So
Yep.
the self-generated, I spun that really the self-generated from my previous 15 years
Hmm.
is really where some customers came from.
Yep.
So many folks would just reach out to me, and then I just let them know, hey, I'm no longer at XYZ. I've started my own place. We've got big dreams. And
Yep.
so they believed me. But then I had some guys, there was four other guys, basically uh two installers
Hmm.
and a service tech and a gentleman for the office, David.
Yep.
So those guys were crazy enough to like believe me, but they like three of them, like the three field guys, sorry, two of the field guys worked with me in the past, and so like they knew there was a good chance.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
And man, it was just one call after another. You just take it one call after another and do the right thing. You got to honestly care. You got to build rapport. You got to solve the problem, and then you got to say thank you. They got to know that you care. I mean, so like there's just no magic.
Well, what were some of the big breakthroughs on the revenue side within the first kind of 3 to 6 months? When did you realize like, okay, we're selling, we're installing, we've got cash? Like, well,
Yeah.
what did that look like?
So I did get a small business loan simply because you could not get fleet, and
Oh,
so I
that's
was
right. Yeah.
yeah crazy crazy. Wow. And so like my goal was to lease through enterprise and then come to find out, sure, that could possibly happen. We could possibly have you some vans in possibly 2 years. And so I'm like, well,
Oh
that's
my goodness.
possibly going to be crazy.
Yeah.
So, and then I had to go back to the drawing board there, and I'm like, man, I've got to go get a small business loan. And so I worked with a certain company, Live Oak Bank, Brandon
Oh
down
yeah.
there,
Yep.
unbelievable people. I talked to a few folks, and man, those people care. And so like they took care of me. I put together a business plan. Just there again. So like after hours, working two full-time jobs, like your business plan has to be legit, not just on
Right.
paper. It's got to be able to be delivered. And so, I had my budget wrote out of how many, calls we were going to get a day, how many, just basically what the daily break even needed to be.
Hmm.
And I just learned all that from like listening to podcasts, reading books, and so like that was a major hurdle. So then we got all that situated. Um, and like so we had the right vans. I'll say we had the right brand, we had the right look. We were turning heads. My guys are in white uniform that we get from a uniform company.
Yep.
Like they're presentable individuals. So like that already separates us a little bit. I know a lot of people that separates us a little bit. Social media is out there. Social media, you're like whatever. I mean, like from a marketing perspective, it's more of just a branding type thing, is how I see it.
Hmm.
Um, and so we were on pace. We launched March the 1st of 2022.
Yep.
Our My budget for the first 12 months was 2 million.
Yep.
I heard I was crazy from a few people. Like, I don't know, whatever. So I'm just like, it can be done. I mean, like, it can be done. You just like keep hammering. And so we busted out March, and then we were busting out April from where we were. I'm talking like 100 and something thousand dollar revenue, like a hundred and
And you're
twenty
selling,
thousand
right?
dollar. Yeah, so I'm selling. Yeah, I mean, I
Yep.
was wearing a few hats. I was selling. I was install manager, service manager, marketing manager.
Yep.
I was custodian. I'm still custodian. So
Oh
like
yeah.
people ask me
That,
what I do. I'm like, I clean the restrooms. So
yeah,
you
exactly.
know, yeah. So first breakthrough. So here was a major thing. So like I've got ears out there. I've got a lot of friends out there, and I had a customer call the office, and he was like, "Hey man, do you take care of boilers? We don't take care of boilers." And he was like, "Well, my buddy, Wayne down the road, this guy's like he was like a one-man show. He could never staff. Amazing guy. Wayne's heating and air conditioning, and so he was like he's out of business. He told me to check in with you guys."
Yep.
So I'm like, no, he's going out of business. And so I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, what's going on here? And so I jumped in my truck as soon as I got off the phone with this guy, and I drove 14 miles down the interstate. I'm calling him. He was out to lunch. He was actually in the office with his wife, and just like it went to voicemail, like, and then I pulled in there. And so I'm like, what's going on? And so he just found out that like this was my company. And so it was just perfect timing. Honestly, it was man, it was just a blessing. I'll say everything's a blessing or a blessing in disguise. Those 14 years, 15 years, like trying not to complain about stuff, but like it was a blessing. But then if it was bad, I say it was a blessing in disguise because like it pushed me to learn, it pushed me to be
Right.
better. So like we kind of have a policy up here of like you don't complain, you don't throw a pipe wrench. If you have a reason to complain, that means there's a reason to enhance a process because the
Hmm.
process isn't right. And so we just tweak that. So Wayne, I went down there and it was perfect timing for him, perfect timing for me. He said, I'm out. I want out. Come hell or high water, quote unquote, he was not going to sell his business to any of these guys on the interstate that have been
Hmm.
there in the community for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Like the guy genuinely cared about his customers and they knew it. And like it's just amazing. He did it for 35 years. And so like we came to terms, man, within like 2 days. Honestly, by
Quick.
the time I left there, it was within 10 minutes, but it was official within 2 days. And so he was like, thank you. I said, thank you. I said, like, we will take care of your customers as if they're ours. And so, like, I just gave him that promise. And you know what? I delivered on that promise. And I met him over the years just at some different events and stuff. And I'm sure he just thought I was just some sales punk, with some company. But then, like, this and that, we just kind of got to know each other a little bit
Yeah.
and just really respected each other. And we were blessed with that. And so that kind of catapulted us. And we're like, man, this is meant to be, but yet it was just kind of, luck, preparation and hard work is kind of luck. So like if we just sat back, close our eyes, eat bonbons and watch soap operas and say, whoa, the woe is me, like there's no calls happening, like this is tough. It's going to be tough, but you got to get out there. You got to shake the trees. You got to hold the babies. You got to shake the hands. You got to,
Yeah.
like honestly do the work and things will take place.
Yeah. It goes back to what you said, like creating relationships.
Yeah.
Um, ha- Side note, how did you even know how to value what his business was? And then how did, when you bought his business,
Yeah.
how soon did that materialize into cash and or jobs, whatever?
Crazy. Like the next day. So the value is in the beholder. I said, what do you want? What's it worth to you? Like, you tell me what you want, he said. So I said, okay, let's do
Yeah.
this. If you're happy, I'm happy. It's a good day. Customer wise, my elementary school principal was the first customer to call.
So you just
Unbelievable.
you took his phone number, right?
Yeah. So
That
no,
was the
no.
deal. Yeah.
Yes, but like at first, before we could connect with the phone company and they like made all that happen and it would, ring in here and all that kind of stuff. His recording, as soon as we came to terms, he walked away. He was super happy.
Hmm.
And then basically his answering machine, it was his wife that said, hey, thank you for calling Wayne's Heating and Cooling. Wayne has retired after 35 years. Wayne recommends Best Virginia Heating and Cooling. Their number is, such and such. And again, Wayne recommends. And so just people would get that because I didn't want people to call his number and it slide up here.
Right.
Me
Yeah.
from a consumer's perspective, because I just try to view things from my employees' perspective. I say my teammates' perspective and the customer's perspective.
Hmm.
Kind of like rolling into the house. If I don't value her perspective, like I probably should, So like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that would be smart. So it was
Interesting.
it
So.
was pretty cool though that my elementary school principal, who later, but he became the county superintendent, and then
Mhm.
we've now installed two systems for him, and so like having him on our team and just really anybody on our team is pretty awesome, vouching for
Yeah.
us.
Did you get any assets with that business, or just simply that
Phone number,
we were taking over phone number? All you
phone
needed.
number. It's all I wanted.
Yep. Good.
So he really didn't have anyone down there. And that was really where he struggled. I kind of viewed it as he was so busy working, the
Hmm.
classic working in the business, he never had time to work on the business. But I mean, he was an amazing guy. But there again, for the past 15 years, I've just been a goofy guy driving around town, eating donuts and drinking coffee and holding babies and shaking hands and talking to people. So like I've been able to create those relationships with people. I'm talking field guys, installers, just great, great, great people that would be an asset to have on the team.
You've referenced bonbons and donuts, and I have seen enough of you to know you eat probably none of those. So
I dream about them though.
you dream about it exactly, just coming out in the subconscious, don't we all?
Yeah.
Um, so the goal was 2 million. How'd you do your first year?
First 10 months, so March the 1st to the end of December, we were just over 3 million top line. So then we went back and I always say we, because I feel like, I mean, I'm 100% owner of the company, but it's a we thing. Great vision without great people is irrelevant. It's kind of how I, operate. So then we did the budget for this year, and I knew we could do six. Just kind
Mhm.
of getting a better understanding of things, understanding the numbers, and it's like the more you know, like I kind of feel the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. And
Mhm.
so I've become obsessed with just like bettering the business, understanding the numbers, so we can so really I can be the asset to my guys here on the team. So we're pacing pretty well this year.
I want to add a clarifying comment. It's so easy to go online and see all these companies that went from 0 to 1 to 2 to 50 to whatever, and everybody's flying around on private jets and just living the lifestyles of the rich and HVAC famous.
Yeah,
But I've been in this space my whole career, and I know a lot of really, really, really good companies that forever are like 4.2, 4.8, great year, 5.1, next year, not a great year, 4.8, and have like, their legacy businesses in a market for 20 or 30 years. And you just did it, in your first 10 months. That's pretty impressive.
man, we got a great team. We got a great
Yeah.
team, and like all day, every day, we try. Just if that's you calling in, like
Hmm.
just for a $78 or $99 or whatever tune up, like don't you want someone that honestly cares about you?
Yeah.
Don't you want someone that's going to listen to you and schedule accordingly? Don't you want like that phone call before they come out so that like I mean we use Service Titan, so like I mean there's some texts that go out, and I'm just
Sure.
saying like clear communication is what I'm saying.
Hmm.
But don't you want that maintenance done? Because I mean at the end of the day we're a commodity. I'll say
Hmm.
like let's get real. People don't wake up and dream about the things that we dream about. Like they like we're typically whenever we're involved, like especially on the service or the install, I'm not saying it's not their best day, but it's probably not how they planned their day.
It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating because, like, of all the different elements, I'm looking around my house right now, of all the different things in my life that make me comfortable and functional. I mean, the HVAC, the air conditioning alone is like number one. Like,
Yeah,
it's just out of sight, out of mind, and no one, yeah. Anyways, that's another
yeah.
sidebar. Um, what were some things you were unprepared for or underprepared for or completely surprised by when you hop in the driver's seat and you're like, oh, this is a thing?
Yeah, wow. I mean, I just expect the unexpected. I'm, learning every day. If you think you've got it, I mean, if you go into business and you sell this or sell that, or you did 3 million your first 10 months, I mean, just like it's a never-ending business, which is beautiful. Um, I mean, there's challenges every day, and so it's a matter of like you could have processes that are out there. I'll say the biggest thing is coming up with the processes.
Hmm.
We just if this matters to anybody, I mean, we just got accepted into Nexstar, but you got to
Oh,
do
really?
X amount of revenue, and they got to see your numbers and all that kind of stuff. And so, really, our biggest struggle was processes. We
Hmm.
like, there again, you hear process this, process that, have a process for it, and like, where's your process? And so, like, we do seriously, like, we have check sheets for everything that we do. And like
Hmm.
now I've got guys that come in. They're kind of like my install helpers. And so like they come in before everybody, like just probably 15 minutes before everybody. I'm just saying like it's a check sheet, it's a process. And so like there was just miscommunication. This guy thought he was doing this, and this guy thought he was doing that. And so like me as an owner, I kind of take the approach now, and I kind of always have, but just like if something's not right, I mean, it's just my fault because they just either clearly don't understand what they should be doing, or obviously I'm allowing them just to like, you know, be children and not put up their clothes, day in and day out. So like either way, it's the accountability or it's just unclarity.
Right.
Um, So, gosh, it's just. I mean, what to expect? I mean, it's ever evolving. It's all day, every day. I mean, I can give you a great answer. I really can't give you a black and white answer just because every day it's something. But yet, I'm trying to better manage my time right now. Things will
Mhm.
happen. So like, but that's just what we do. If I wake up every day, expect to come to work, and for things to just be lollipops and roses and sprinkles on the ice cream, that's probably my fault for having the wrong mindset that things are going to be perfect. I mean, there's way too many moving parts in this, and we're dealing with humans and things happen. So just trying to stay calm and respond accordingly and enhance the process or make a new process for it.
Yeah. What were now you just joined Nextstar. Were you involved in any other best practice groups or the actual question behind that question is you seem to have come up with a lot of checklists and processes and procedures. Where were you getting those things or were you writing them on the fly?
Gosh, podcasts. Like I listen to podcasts all the time. I've kind of cut out music. Not that, Taylor Swift and Morgan Wallen don't pay the
You
bills.
just became a Swiftie.
Man, I've got three girls. So like,
Yeah, exactly.
well, you and I could just sing all day to that. I'm terrible
Oh
at
yeah.
it, but yeah, it's bad. So when I'm by myself, I'll listen to podcasts. When the family's in the car, obviously I
Yeah.
probably can't do that. So check sheets and stuff like that actually came across when I first started. I felt I had to, and that's probably Ken Goodrich, just from he's always preaching. Someone like there's a lot of mentors that are out there that you could, I'll say, people that you could take as a mentor, and like you ask 10 questions, you'll get 10 different answers,
Yeah.
on some things. But just Ken and the E Myth, I've read that book four times now.
Hmm.
And like every time I read it, it's a different book. And like actually we're going on
Right.
vacation next week and I'm going to read it again. And just because it's been that's been one of my top books, would be
Yeah.
that right there. But I joined Praxis,
Hmm.
and they helped on some things for sure. Um, but we just still need processes. And that's
Yeah.
kind of where our biggest struggle has been processes. And with these groups, I mean, there's rebates and all that stuff that are out there. So like they don't cost you anything. But then again, like
Hmm.
what's the cost of like not being involved with a best practice group? I mean, all these wheels have already been invented. So I mean, I don't
Right.
need to come out here and try to reinvent these crazy wheels when there's so many people that are already doing it a million times better than me.
Hmm.
So I'm just like, I jokingly say I'm smart enough to know that like I can ask people.
Right. Yeah. Not reinventing the wheel is,
Yeah, I'm just wasting time and
yeah.
going to get frustrated. I mean, what's your time worth, So
Hmm.
the cost of a best practice group, it's there again, what's the cost of not having something like that? But you got to implement it. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's got the recipes out there. Everybody's got the diet plan or whatever it is, but it's all just a matter of implementation. And
Yeah.
that's the biggest issue with really everything, probably in most businesses. I know especially in ours is, I mean, we could go sit at an event or go tour a facility, and we've toured some pretty nice places. But if we don't bring it back and implement it, then I mean, honestly, we should have just stayed here and went to Starbucks and done whatever.
Hey, one of my favorite Starbucks is in Charleston. It's the one on Kanawha Avenue. Am I saying that right? Next to the courtyard in
Yeah,
Shoney's.
that's right.
Have I ever told you the story about my son eating his first pancake with syrup at that Shoney's in Charleston?
Really? No.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he'd been eating pancakes for years without syrup and we were like, "Dude, you should probably try. It's pretty good. It kind of
Oh,
unlocks the
oh,
pancake." And one time he just dipped it in some syrup and it's like he saw the world in
game
color for the
changer.
first time. Game changer.
Game.
High fructose fun syrup is what we call it.
That's
I
unbelievable.
I want to go back to something you said. You talked about if something's not right, it's your fault for not being clear about the expectation, for not being clear, for not having a process. So you're transferring that responsibility onto yourself. So I can see this playing out in live time where someone's like, oh, yeah, John never told us, so it's his fault, not ours. How do you then transfer the ownership onto the individual and then hold them accountable? I'm kind of obsessed with this idea of accountability right now. I'm trying to learn it myself. Um, how do you fix it without it staying your problem and your employee becomes accountable for it?
Wow, that's tough. And so I'm gonna back up and say when my guys came here, like I promised them a greater future. I
Mhm.
promise them that like I'm going to make them a better technician because that's kind of what we're talking is here in the trades, but I'm going to make you a better person and I'm going to make you more stable financially. Like I want people to seriously have like the career job here, make the most money and kind of have the most fun, but you still have to work. I mean, there's still crawl
Mhm.
spaces and attics, is what I jokingly tell them.
Yep.
So, on the accountability, basically, you like kind of how I spin it to them, which is being 100% honest, is like you can't get to where you want to get to in life if you're not accountable. If you don't honestly do the check sheet, if you
Mhm.
don't honestly seal up the return plenum in the attic to the air handler. So
Mhm.
like there's a check sheet on that. And so like, did you do it? Sure, initial that. And so we just had that happen this morning. Guess what? We had a little callback, and so I pulled the check sheet. Wasn't done. It was initial that it was. So it's just coaching. So like things happen. I'm pretty lenient simply because like I'll just say the install guys, like they're amazing individuals. They're the salesman because the
Mhm.
job isn't honestly sold. I'm saying the homeowner convinced that like they made a great investment until the install team leaves. The house is
Yeah.
spotless, and they're like, wow, everybody from start to finish was unbelievable.
Yep.
So, I mean, how do we hold them accountable? It's just a matter of coaching, and like we'll go back to those folks and just let them know, like if you want to be service manager right now, you're a maintenance tech. Like we've got to grind, we've got to grow this business, we've got to sell more club memberships, we've got to get these reviews so that we can, hire more people, so we can, and I'll show them an org chart so they understand that there are many opportunities here. Like we are going to own the state of West Virginia hands down within 5 years, period. And all these guys know it. They've got the grit, they've got the grind, and so they just need help. Like I need help too on some
Yep.
on some things with the accountability. I've got to check in with some people, some coaches that I have, and like they kind of smack me around, but I'm like, yeah, I missed that. My bad. Thanks for helping me.
Yep.
So we've got guys with the right mindset, the right attitude. We're still human.
What were some things that you feared or were uncertain about that now on the other side of the fence you realize weren't even worth one being fearful about or even thinking about, if that is in fact something you went through?
The past year is kind of a blur, so I don't remember much, but like
Yeah.
I mean, what were some of the things? I mean, just really, where's it going to come from? Well,
Yeah.
just honestly, where's it going to come from? Like all these folks in town, like all these other customers, like they've got these customers, and like how are we going to get them? And just like, man, it's just a matter of like you focus on what's in front of you, and
Yep.
you win that person over. So whether it's it's converting a $25,000 system or it's a $78 tune up, like win them over, and then like they're going to tell people, and they have. I mean, like it's unbelievable. Like we've tracked many people, customers came from one marketed call that's now generated over $100,000 of revenue simply
Yep.
because they felt like they were cared for.
Mhm.
So I mean, really, I'll say, where's it going to come from? And the market's changing. We're always aware. Always
Sure.
questioning. Like it's been very mild here. I mean, it was 74 degrees yesterday, June the
Yeah.
27th, and so, but somehow we've been extremely blessed to find a way. And there have been some times that we've been like the 3-day call board. We're like, where's the calls? What are we going to do? And so we try to create some levers and just but really run the process.
Yep.
That's what it's all about.
Any regrets or things you would have done differently, particularly maybe during the transition between the two companies or in those
Mm.
first few months?
That's our biggest thing is the processes. Just
Yeah.
like how does a maintenance tech roll in the house? We have right now there's only one maintenance tech, but then we're hiring someone else. They start in a week and a half. How do we create that consistency? Because Chick-fil-A, I mean, who are they to tell us what to do? Like, do they have it down? I don't know, but
Hmm.
like they're pretty darn consistent. So like their systems are incredible. So if I were to have it to do all over again, I just would have came out the gate with systems in place. So, but then I feel that probably would have taken another, like gosh, months to do. And then our systems are ever evolving. Just we've came across some check sheets processes and all that, but just like we've customized them to us. And
Hmm.
if the customer is not 100% satisfied after every maintenance call, after every service call, after every installation, we find out why, and we make sure that they are, but then possibly we have to change a process or a check sheet.
When you think of a company that you aspire to be, whether conscious or subconsciously, who do you picture?
Mm, gosh, we just got back from Chad Peterman's place about two
Oh,
weeks ago. So
yeah.
like
There you go. Enough said.
magical, crazy.
Yeah.
Love really got to, hang out with Chad all day. They graciously let a bunch of ramrods. There was just me and David that went up there. David's awesome. But like
Yep.
we went up there and spent the day. Unbelievable.
Yeah. He's got a nice setup and nice office too, huh?
Oh man.
Yeah.
Everybody's just seamlessly moseying around the office. But
Yeah.
like they're on it though.
They really are.
They
Yeah.
are unbelievable.
What about your personal life, quality of life? So you're doing pretty well in those 15 years. You kind of
Oh man.
complicated things for yourself by going out on your own, I'm sure. What's the personal
Yeah.
life like? Like quality of life, health? I know you're a big lifter. Like, is
I
any of
used
that stuff taking a back seat or what's going on?
well, I mean, life is amazing. I've got an amazing fiance. I've got three daughters. So, um, so fortunate from the life perspective, and it's just finding time management. That's probably the biggest
Yep.
thing because at the end of the day, everything needs fed, everything needs attention,
Hmm.
and so that's what time management's probably my number one objective every day to better manage that, which it like I'll get home some days and I'm like, I got nothing done.
Hmm.
So I mean it's just you could possibly relate to that maybe a little bit. I'm not sure. Um,
Oh yeah.
but it's tough. So with work, I mean I used to work out a lot. That was kind of my thing. I had like a little health issue to where I had to quit, working out hard. I mean I used to do Spartan races with a good buddy of mine and my brother, and that was always a great challenge. Doing the Murph, at the CrossFit places on Memorial Day. That was always, just an amazing thing. And so I loved being the old guy down there, taking first place for like 10 years in a row. But
Good for you.
so man, life is just really this kind of is my sport now. I mean, like
Yeah.
just business is fun because I know that I can really change a lot of people's future in life, including my family first and foremost. And that's what I tell my guys. I'm like, you guys are here not for, me, not for Best Virginia Heating and Cooling, but like make this impact for you, for your family.
Hmm.
Like make a difference. And like you can, like the sky's the limit here. They know the income's unlimited here. Just whatever they want to put
Yeah.
in, it's performance pay. So the better we do, the better everybody does.
So, last question here. If someone is listening to this who finds themselves in a similar position to where you were, right, where they're kind of getting into that mid career point, they want to make the leap, they dream about making the leap, but maybe they don't have the courage, maybe they don't have a plan. What's your advice to them?
Gosh, 5 years, what are you gonna regret? Making the leap or not making the leap? That's kind of just the easiest way to look at it. And so, I mean, I mentioned this earlier, like it's all hard, working for someone's hard, like owning your own shop's hard. I mean, there is a lot to it. I mean, it's unbelievable how much goes into to running this thing. I mean, there's bills that need to be paid. And so, um, there's just like assembling the right team. You got to have the relationships, with everybody. You've got to bring the right people on board. I mean, that's kind of the big thing is, you got to hire the right people. You got to train those people and then just follow the processes and procedures. But I mean, I would just do it. As lame as that sounds, you just got to do it. And like give praise due when it's due to your teammates, like honestly take care of your customers. I'm probably getting off topic, a little bit, but just do it. I mean, like everybody, like look at where you are, look at all these folks. I mean, so many people have amazing stories, but really, I mean, they just went and did it. and they just showed up, and it's just, like nothing happens overnight. You gotta fall in love, man, with the monotony of the grind. That's just kind of what I say. It's doing things in a smart way, but all of my guys, like the guys that have been here for like months, I'm like, are you making more? I'm just like, than you ever have. And they're like, yes. I'm like, do you feel appreciated, honestly, more than you ever have? And they're like, yes. I'm like, that's the goal, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's why we exist, is to, and so like we do some little things. Like I could ramble forever. Like I do a handwritten thank you card after every install. I try to
Mhm.
go out to like 50% of the installs that we do just because like people want people. And like we do happy calls. Like you really got to do that stuff. I mean, people say, man, you guys care. So I mean, not only like are the bands nice and this and that, you know what I'm saying, but just like you got to care.
Thank you for listening to the Change Your Filter podcast. I hope this podcast today was valuable for you. If you liked this podcast, please go to wherever you listen to podcasts and write a review. And if you have an idea of a guest or a topic, leave it in the notes of our YouTube feed. If you are interested in learning more about contractor commerce, go to contractorcommerce.com, click learn more, and my team will hook you up.